What's up, YouTube? I'm Robert, and this is the Biker Channel, B1. Today, I'm out here in the middle of the woods using this thing to barbecue with. No, actually, this is called a McLeod, which I didn't know. It's kind of like a McMuffin, but not as good to eat. Anyways, I'm out here in Georgetown, which you guys have seen me suffer my ass off on plenty of times, and today's purpose is to do a little trail work.
We started our day by piling into the shuttle van for California Expeditions. Tom, the owner, drove us from Drew Barner Campground down Rock Creek Road into Georgetown OHV Park. We traveled down that long and windy road, and then ultimately we met up with FATRAC. They're a local trail advocacy group here in Northern California. According to the Forest Service, we had more volunteers that day than they had in the last 10 years of trail days. Equipped with a shovel, I set out on my first task. We hiked down the trail about a mile or so and came upon this bridge. What I needed to do was get all the dirt and mud that's sitting on top of the bridge off of it. What happens is the motorcycles come over the bridge, and when they gas it to go up the hill on the other side, they shoot a rooster tail out of the back of the bike, and it shoots a bunch of mud and dirt onto the bridge. Then once it starts raining, you have this freestanding water, and ultimately, all that does is cause the bridge to rot. And you want to make these resources last as long as possible because, as we all know, not a whole lot of money is going into the Park Service. The Forest Service ranger told me that when groups seek litigation to try to close trails, one of the main reasons that they use is what's called sedimentation. As you see, there's a creek right below this bridge. And what happens is the dirt and the oil and the whatever else that all of us hikers and bikers and motorcycles bring onto the trail makes its way down into the ecosystem of the creek. And the other thing is also erosion. So right now you see me digging, and what I'm doing is I'm throwing that dirt right back up on the trail. What he said to me was, you always want to make sure you keep the dirt on the trail when you're doing the trail work, because once that dirt is gone, it's gone forever. So keep that in mind, guys, when you're out there working on your trails at home, you're digging and shoveling. Don't throw that dirt off to the side. Just throw it right back in the middle of the trail, just somewhere else. This is Matt, the president for FATRAC. That's the Folsom Auburn Trail Riders Action Coalition. Like I said earlier, they're one of the local trail advocacy groups here around the Northern California area. And he is leading by example, out on the trail, holding a shovel and working it just like the rest of us. I was fortunate enough to be able to work right next to him, and we could have a little chat about FATRAC.
Tell me what it was that, like, how you were just telling me a minute ago about how this kind of got started here?
We had started working with the Georgetown Ranger District a couple years ago, working on some grant proposals, and the Georgetown Ranger District was reaching out to get more money and more mountain bike interest and whatnot. And at about the same time, Tom McGrady got in touch with me from California Expeditions and said he really wanted to champion that effort. We had the trail work day last June, and the trail just exploration day and camp out last June. That went awesome. And that was a fundraiser to fund this day and then to fund stuff going forward. And then he's really just kind of spearheaded things moving forward coming up to this. And then we've also got some new trail markings that kind of make it a little easier for people to find their way down the primary routes that people want to hit.
Those of you guys that have watched me get lost up here a few times will know that the trail markers, as far as mountain bikers are concerned, or being clear, it's not necessarily that way just yet. So a lot of this work that's going in that he's talking about will make it so that it's more of a destination for mountain bikers to ride. So I assume FATRAC is all volunteer?
It is. It's 100% volunteer and then supported by IMBA.
A lot of us mountain bikers come out and beat the shit out of the trail and don't always give back. And I think that this is one of those things where you really should.
Yeah, you compare it to a lot of other adventure sports. If you're into skiing, a $50, $70, $90 lift ticket a day, FATRAC membership's $39 a year, and maybe a day or two or three of volunteer work goes a really long way.
With all that being said, is there anything in particular that you would say to people about this area or your organization?
It's a long approach, but we're making some headway of late, and just being out there showing support, it goes a huge way. And keeping your eyes open on the FATRAC Facebook page and fatrac.org for future trail work days. I just got word, hopefully we'll be getting the Mammoth Bar area in Auburn open in the near future and have a couple trail work days there this winter.
Cool. Right on, man. Thanks for what you do, dude. Let's get back to work. Back to work.
Here you can see the finished product. We got all the dirt off the top of the bridge, graded out both sides, and fixed this erosion that was happening to the left side of the trail right there.
I've ridden around for a long time thinking about how I wanted to do some trail work. And, you know, life is busy. Sometimes it's hard to commit to something like this. But I can say, if you do, it's fulfilling. You know, you get to come out here, be part of this community, and more than just somebody that's utilizing the resources and not giving back. So, if you can't come out and do some trail work, maybe you can pay for parking. Maybe you can join one of the local groups and just pay for your membership. One way or another, be an advocate for the stuff that you're using. Well, that looks fun. Going the other way. You work with the Forest Service?
Yeah.
So you guys do this stuff a lot, or like, I don't know.
With volunteer days?
Mm-hmm.
Those days are few and far between now. Looking through the records, it seems like it was more normal. I think what's happening is our motorbikers are growing old.
Uh-huh. So you had more work with the OHV community,
entirely.
but now it's kind of like,
This is a shift,
yeah, like a paradigm shift, huh? I guess you
which
know.
is wonderful.
Yeah.
Except we got to keep in mind some management issues that we want to stay ahead of.
We were, talking about coming up here in this OHV park because we're mountain bikers to help out, and somebody's like, "Well, are you guys going to be like sanitizing the trail to them?" And it was, it was a really good question that I didn't really even think about. My assumption was, no, we're not going to be sanitizing the trail. We're going to do more like erosion control, which is basically what we're doing.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That will be the word that's uttered in court.
Erosion. Yeah.
Sedimentation. Accelerated erosion.
When you say sedimentation, you're just talking about the erosion of the dirt
Turbidity.
getting into the streams and
Yeah.
then doing what?
Yeah.
Like
and
just making them so they're not
it's-
flowing well,
it's
or
a disruptor to all the macroinvertebrates and everything on up,
right.
and changes the stream bed in ways we don't want.
I was riding in Bass Lake over by Yosemite. The erosion on the trail was freaking crazy. Like there was a spot where bigger than that. There was a spot on my bike. The guy was telling me the trail surface was at where our head level was.
Yeah, that's
Just
what
from
we're
last
trying
winter.
to avoid here.
And he was like, that's what those water bars and all that shit stops, but
Once you lose soil, you don't get it back.
The Forest Service had this really cool track vehicle for carrying supplies up and down the trails. Way easier than carrying everything in your hands. I just didn't quite understand why there wasn't a cooler on it. The McLeod can be used for compacting dirt as well as digging with it. And if you don't want to look like a complete noob when you show up for trail work, bring your bike helmet. Matt took a few minutes to explain the life cycle of the bridges to me. It's pretty interesting. They're almost like Legos the way they're built. You can just swap parts out as they degrade.
That'll stay for a long time.
right.
And then hopefully, maybe replace these every 3 or 4 years, and then these ones get replaced every 5 or 6 years, and then these ones hopefully 20 years. I don't know, 20 is probably a long time. But
Another thing that we did through a good portion of the day was some puddle management. So basically we would dig a trench off the side of the puddle so that way it could drain the water off the trail. When you do these little trenches, you do want to make them a little bit substantial. Otherwise, as soon as it rains the first time, it's going to kind of wash out or fill back up with muck, and then it's not going to be very effective. So as you can see, once again, the dirt that we're pulling off the sides of the trail, we're pushing back into the middle so we don't lose that dirt. Here you can see all the standing water that was on the trail when we started has drained out the trench. And now it's time to head back. Good job, guys. Beer 30.
So apparently they knew I was coming.
As we wrapped up our day, we got a bite to eat and some cold beers, and of course we had to get together and pose for a picture.
All right, so I'm here with Tom from California Expeditions right over there. If you're not familiar with him, check out his website. What's your website?
California-expeditions.com.
So don't forget the hyphen, California-expeditions.com. They do shuttles around here in NorCal, so apparently a pretty good dude setting up this trail day. Stoked that I got a chance to be out here. I appreciate meeting you and the other people from FATRAC and whatnot. And apparently there's beer involved too, so fucking A, that was awesome. Thanks a lot, man. Only takes a bike to be a biker. Get out and be one.